Hey, yo, fans of the sport. What up? It's Lamech with Selah Sports TV back at it again. Ch. Hang on. Hang on 1 second. Ch, as I was saying before. But anyway, yeah, let's talk about the fight tonight. We got Boots Ennis going up against David Avanesyan. Spoke a little bit on this fight yesterday, but I'm going to talk a little bit more about it. I think there are a little bit more aspects to talk about. Not so much in the fight. The fight itself is pretty much straightforward, but things around the fight, right? What am I talking about? Well, for one, we have Jerron Boots Ennis making his attempt to reignite Philly boxing, right? Philly boxing has not really been a thing, which is sad, really, because Philly has a big time boxing tradition, right? Former champions coming from Philadelphia, former lots of great fighters coming out of Philadelphia. Um, you know, pretty horrible steak sandwiches coming out of Philadelphia. Yeah, I had to get that in. Sorry. I mean, look, they put cheese whiz on their cheesesteaks. Okay, if you want a good cheesesteak, you got to go to Baltimore for that. You know, if you want a good cheesesteak with actual cheese on it, you got to go to Baltimore for that. But anyway, um, interesting fight. Even though the fight itself is straightforward, but let's talk about it. So David Avanesyan is Boots Ennis's latest opponent, which is strange because uh, 2 fights ago, I want to say David Avanesyan, maybe 2 or 3 fights ago, he had a fight against Terrence Crawford. This is back when Terrence Crawford was still he just left ESPN. He was a free agent. He was trying to get the Errol Spence fight, and they were trying to string him along. Really, they were really trying to string that guy along. Let's take the trip down memory lane. Terrence Crawford was a free agent looking for the Errol Spence fight. Errol Spence was being funneled towards Keith Thurman, right? Towards the Keith Thurman fight. Not sure who that was from, whether it was from Floyd Mayweather, whether it was from Al Heyman, Tom Brown. Make a long story short, they were funneling Errol Spence towards uh, uh, um, Keith Thurman. So yeah, that's where we were. So Crawford couldn't get the fight. He had to find somebody to fight, right? Black Prime offered him a bag to fight, 10 million. At that time, that was his highest payday at that time, right? He was able to secure the bag. He fought David Evanesian, knocked him out in, I want to say, the 6th round, something like that. But it was a decent fight. Evanesian got some good. Look, Evanesian, he's gonna make you work around some things now. Like, you're not just gonna go in there and blow this guy away. Now, here's, even though I just said that, here's why Boots might just be the first guy to just step in the ring and blow David Evanesian away. Number one, the guy has already been knocked out. He's been loosened up by Crawford, right? That ain't the number one reason, but that'll be the first reason that I give, right? We can't just throw that out. That was a brutal KO, right? From Terrence Crawford. It was a left hook and an uppercut combination and got him the fuck out of there. Or maybe it was an uppercut left hook combination. It was it was one or the other. Either way, it was nasty and it was over. Once we saw that, we knew it was over. Um, as for Boots Ennis, this fight could go something like that. It actually could go. He could actually get the job done a little bit quicker than Bud Crawford. Number one, Crawford is not just a power puncher. He's not just gonna come in there throwing power punches. I've only seen him do that one time. I'm not sure what the cause for that, like why he was so pissed off, but he was really trying to get Mean Machine out of there. I don't know why he fought that strategy. It almost got him in trouble, right? As he did get dropped against Mean Machine, but he was able to, once that happened, he went into dog mode. a la Floyd Mayweather versus Shane Mosley, right? Once he took that quick knee, it was pretty much a different fight, and Mean Machine was never in it from that point on. But as for Boots Ennis, he's fighting a guy in Avanesyan who's gonna step right to him. Avanesyan doesn't even approach you side on. Like, he just steps right down. He comes right down the middle. Now, he does have a lot of upper body movement. He uses the peekaboo style a lot of times. He's a shorter guy, right? He can get in. He has tricky footwork. It's not like he has fast feet or anything like that, but his footwork is very tricky. He inches forward, right? He likes to inch forward behind that jab, behind double jabs, and he'll get in position where he can start throwing those big shots, right? That's really what Avanesyan wants to do. He just wants to get in range so that he can throw those big shots. Something I've noticed about Boots Ennis, man, he like, I get it, he's a bigger welterweight, but has he ever fought a power puncher? Like, I'm talking about a power puncher. I get it, Avanesyan, he throws shots, but Avanesyan, I don't think he has a lot of knockouts, right? He doesn't have a lot of knockouts. Has Boots ever fought somebody who can punch? Has he fought somebody who can move? Well, we've seen him fight somebody who can move, Karen Kukachan or whatever the fuck his name is, and he didn't look good. That was actually his worst outing. And we see him kind of making a mistake. Well, we can't call it a mistake yet, but we'll just keep watching. But I'll just throw this out there. When you have a glaring weakness, like his footwork, for instance, when you struggle against a guy who moves like that, I get it. You might not want to rush right into fighting another guy who can move like that, basically kind of like chasing after an L. You don't want to chase after the L, but at the same time, you got to work on that weakness. Because here's the thing. You talking about Bud Crawford, which we'll talk about that and the likelihood of that fight happening. We'll talk about that in a few. But you talking about guys like Bud Crawford, like, that guy can do it all, bro. You ain't fought nobody that can move, nobody good anyway, and you ain't fought nobody that can punch at all. And you talking about fighting Bud Crawford? See, this is why I give Eddie Hearn lots of credit, because the guy knows what he's doing. The guy is an awesome promoter, right? He's an awesome promoter. He promotes his fighter. No more, no less. No more, no less. You know, he does his fucking job as a promoter. So I'm bringing up Eddie Hearn because we noticed as soon as Boots went over there to sign with Matchroom, DAZN, we saw that he kind of removed Bud Crawford from his itinerary, right? And I think that was an intelligent move. Now, I'm going to speak out of both sides of my mouth temporarily, because I like that fight. I like Bud Crawford versus Boots Ennis fight. I like it. As a Bud Crawford fan, I'd really like it. As a fan of Boots and somebody who wants to see his career take off, I'm not sure how much I like that fight. Right? And this is why I give Eddie Hearn credit, because he was able to talk some sense into Boots, right? He was able to talk some sense into him. Eddie Hearn, he's a promoter. Now, he's the type of guy, if you keep running your mouth and talking like you want to fight a guy, he's going to make that happen. Right? He doesn't move like those guys over there at Showtime and PBC, where, you know, a lot of their fighters talk shit, and it's all cap. It's all just guys talking shit. Eddie Hearn is not from the U.S. He's not from that shit talking culture. Like, if he hears you talking like you want to fight a guy, he's gonna start moving to make that fight happen, and he has the means to make it happen. Right? He's got the networking and the partnerships to make it happen. He got Turkey Al-Sheikh, you know, he's working with him, and he's got a live UK boxing fan base, right? much different than the U.S. So it's like, Boots, you want to build your name off of you, right? That means that's why we're seeing Boots go to Philly and with this fight, and he's trying to build up his own brand. I think it's a little late for that. I mean, the guy has over 30 fights already. Boots Ennis has more fights than Errol Spence, right? I think it's a little late to try to turn Boots into a superstar, but all in all, I think it's a good move, fighting Philly, business-wise. Now, as for the fighter, I'm not sure, man. I'm really not sure. I mean, I already wasn't sure, but after I watched the weigh-in, I'm really, really, this is the one thing. This is the one opening for David Avanesyan, right? Because frankly, I don't think he has the style to beat a Boots Ennis. But if the stars are going to align for David Avanesyan, it's going to be because Boots Ennis ain't focused. It's going to be because Boots Ennis got a little bit too much home cooking, right? I'm watching the weigh-in, and everything went smooth. Everything was fine. But then when they did the face-off, Boots had the eye of the tiger. Like he was ready to go right then. But as soon as somebody said something in the crowd, he broke character and started like cheesing and smiling. The mad dog and he just did was all an act. And David Avanesyan was standing right there. I look at the little things. Yeah, I watch body language. I wouldn't call myself body language pro or nothing like that, but when you've seen enough fights and you know how you understand human behavior, like, I don't think Boots is focused on destruction, right? I think he's focused on looking good in front of his home fans. Which brings me to another point. Philly dudes in general, well, let me not generalize. You get in trouble when you generalize, right? I'll just talk about Boots. I do see a little bit of too cool for school, if you know what I mean, right? Too busy trying to look cool instead of just taking care of business, right? Too busy trying to look cool. And the fact that this fight was made, I get it. It's a replacement fighter. Cody Crowley, I believe, was a little bit more of a mover, but Cody Crowley just can't punch at all. He can't punch at all. So I'm not gonna nitpick. I'm not gonna nitpick the David Avanesyan fight. Right? It's his first fight on Matchroom DAZN. It's a replacement fight, the fight that he was supposed to be fighting. He was trying to fight this guy for years, pulled out again. So I'm not gonna nitpick the fight. I'm looking forward to it. I don't think this fight leads up to a Bud Crawford fight. I think Boots Ennis will chase down Undisputed at 147, which is going to be interesting. It's going to be very, very interesting because, as you can see, Boots is a bigger guy. For Boots to be making 147 is crazy. It's crazy that this guy can make 147 and fight at that level. You know, I hear people saying, well, is Boots drained? Of course he's drained. Yeah, he's drained. These days, most fighters are drained. That's what fighters are doing these days. Like, it's not like back in the day. That's why they don't even look the same as back in the day. Like, when you look at Sugar Ray Leonard and Tommy Hearns and those guys, they were welterweights, but they didn't look like welterweights. Those guys they didn't look like these welterweights. The reason why is because, and it's just my personal opinion, right? This is just my personal opinion. These current welterweights are drained, most of them. Most of them are looking for a size advantage at lower weight classes. That's what most of them are doing. So they're not going to fill out the way Hearns and Sugar Ray Leonard, Duran, and all those guys, they're not going to look the same. I don't think you can fight at that level when you're constantly draining yourself. That's why when people ask me who would win between Hearns and Sugar Ray Leonard, Hearns and Bud, or Sugar Ray Leonard, not Hearns and Leonard, Hearns and Floyd Mayweather, right? Sugar Ray Leonard and Floyd, Sugar Ray Leonard versus Bud. I'm gonna pick Sugar Ray Leonard, Hearns, those older guys each and every fucking time. Yes, I'm gonna pick them every time. When I close that fight, when I close my eyes and envision those fights, I see these guys getting their ass whipped. But that's a whole different conversation. Whole different conversation. Looking forward to seeing Boots' performance tonight. I do have him winning by knockout. I think this knockout could come a little early because of the style that David Avanesyan uses. It feeds right into what Boots Ennis wants to do, right? At the same time, I recognize it's a hometown fight. It's an opportunity for Boots to come out not focused and open the door for David Avanesyan. Wouldn't shock me either way, but I'm picking Boots by knockout. Anyway, that's all I got. If you liked the video, bang off on that like button one time. Peace.